My name is Jeremy Tasch. I'm an associate professor in the Department of Geography and Environmental Planning. You know, I first heard about course redesign from an announcement that was sent by our college's associate dean. So redesign to me seemed like a way to reinvigorate teaching, perhaps improve the teaching process, incorporate some of the advances of technology, not for technology's sake, but to improve the learning outcomes, and to try to encourage students to feel more involved and independent and active in what is a general education large lecture class. It really is an approach to taking learning, say, out of the hands of the professor and putting it in the hands of the student. I think like a lot of professors, semester after semester, we're all questioning, are we teaching in the best way that we can? And how can we both change the way we're teaching in a way that improves our classroom and out of classroom work with students? So redesign, when I was introduced to it, seemed like simply another way to reach perhaps even more students more effectively, and to try to tweak what I may already be doing well in the classroom, but try to improve it. And if there's ways to take what maybe I'm not so successful at, perhaps redesign was a way to enhance and perhaps improve maybe areas that I need improvement with. But the model we've currently settled on is the supplemental model. And so what we're doing is we're not reducing class contact time, but in fact we're augmenting, we're supplementing class contact time by increasing the amount of out-of-office opportunities for one-to-one and small group interactions. And so some of our office hours consist of meeting with 5 students at a time. In the course I'm currently piloting, we have 135 students, and we have 18 hours per week of office hours. Now those office hours include me, they include a teaching assistant, and I've brought on 5 undergraduate learning assistants. So in total, we're able to offer office hours Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We have hours in the morning, we have hours in the afternoon. So what we're trying to do is spread many office hours across the entirety of the week, and to hit different times of the day to try to make our availability as convenient as possible for students. Now what I've tried to do is take the idea of class participation and take it or extend it outside of the classroom. So class participation for me includes coming to office hours. Now we haven't even reached the midterm stage yet, and we are currently up to approximately 65 students having visited us during the office hours. There's often a gap between what the professor thinks is being communicated and what the students are receiving. So our office hours include an assessment form that the learning assistant fills for each student that comes to a visit. And those assessments come to me. And some of the questions, are really quite basic. For example, what do you appreciate about office hours? But some other questions, and they're worded more diplomatically, but the gist is, what do you hate about this class? How might this class be improved? Now then it falls on the professor and the learning assistants to figure out how to tease out the issues that are causing confusion. But that's what office hours are for. That's the one-to-one interaction that you can't usually have in a limited time frame in a large lecture. This process has allowed me to gain a bit more insight into how students approach a general education course, and how I might try to take that approach and put it into my teaching so that I can anticipate some of the reactions. And when often many students feel a bit reticent to put their confusion out in public. They're reluctant to do it one-to-one, but at least they're more willing to do it one-to-one. And so some students have said, the fact that I can speak to another student who's had this class and understands what I'm going through is really helpful, and it makes me feel a bit more confident. In addition to augmenting normal office hours, we're also shifting more of our assignments to the online environment. In the past, if we had what we call in our department a double section, that's 90 students, it's very difficult to have weekly assignments simply because the number of students requires so much out-of-time grading that you end up, unfortunately, needing to change the way you think about doing assignments so that you can get the assignments back to students in a timely manner so that you can facilitate their learning. And making those online assignments available for longer periods of time allows students to work at a pace and a schedule that meets their needs. We're able to take advantage of online components that we weren't able to do previously. So we can use more animations, we can use videos, we can use a lot more interactive tools. Google Earth is a fantastic visualization and analysis tool. It's fun to play with, but it's also an effective tool for learning. We went through a process of a lot of informal discussions, and then after submitting our proposal, getting our proposal accepted by the Chancellor's office at the University of Maryland system, we then decided as a team which textbook and which online package we would pilot. At the end of the semester, the team, which consists of approximately 6 of us, will sit down. We're going to do a revised pilot. We're going to take the lessons learned, what worked, continue that, what didn't work, and see how we can tweak the redesign effort. Our team will sit down and we'll actually come to the final decision. Do we incorporate the lessons learned from redesign across the board, which is our original intent? So we're all hopeful and we're all open-minded and expecting that's the direction we're going to go. But again, it's a matter of, is that the way to go because it's a marked improvement over traditional methods? And too often, departments get caught up in day-to-day and week-to-week committee work and all the other demands that are placed on the times of professors. What that does is it reduces the opportunity to actually discuss classroom, curriculum, pedagogy. So colleagues, unfortunately, sometimes lose the collegiality aspect of being colleagues. We're not sharing best practices. We're not necessarily, in an organized manner, sharing our assignments with each other. We're all working in parallel rather than in complement. Now the redesign process, because it's supposed to be an approach to change an entire course, that is all the sections that make up individual classes, that requires coordination and discussion among all the individuals who teach their courses as individuals. What that means is we're required to talk to each other. We're required to share. So we actually are having some of the conversations that many of us wish we were having, and many faculty members wish there was time to actually discuss how to do what we do better and to talk about actually our own discipline and how to get students more enthusiastic about what we really enjoy. Well, the redesign actually not only encourages, but in a certain degree forces us to have those conversations. Well, there's always going to be a comparison between the traditional course and the pilot course, which are going on simultaneously. Students talk to each other, quite natural. It's very likely that a student will have a friend in a traditional course. Students compare notes. And a student in the pilot course will likely say things like, well, we're doing all of this work, or I'm totally lost, or other impressions and opinions that will seem to suggest that the redesign is not an effective approach to learning. But again, what we have to recognize is that we're trying to change the regime of learning, and we're trying to change the way professors and students interact in a manner that takes advantage of technology and that tries to give more responsibility to students. But that's a learning process. Now, this is a pilot, and we're not always successful, but at least this is the drive, and this is what we're trying to do to ensure that learning becomes more active, interactive, meeting students' needs and at a schedule that's convenient for them, and moving beyond a classroom focus and trying to take apart some of the constraints that are associated with lecture classes and actually make them more seminar-like and interactive.